My goal for today is build myself a holder that's gonna hold the TIG filler. It's gonna hold my welding helmet when I'm not using it. It's gonna hold the TIG torch. It's gonna get that stuff off the table so I have more space. So this is what I envision. I plan on using this 1x1 by 1/8 inch thick aluminum square tubing. This is what will hold the filler metal. I've designed a clamping system that will hold it to the side of the table. And there'll be brackets welded to this square tubing to hold the welding helmet at the front side of the table and hold my TIG torch at the rear of the table. That should clear up enough space on my table to help me get my jobs done. Take the 6-inch piece you cut and round the corners off using a belt sander or grinder. Then take a hammer and bend about a 1/2 inch lip on your 6-inch piece. This will be just so that the helmet doesn't slide off. Doesn't have to be a big lip, just something to keep the helmet from sliding off. Now make a line 1 inch from the flat side of your 6-inch piece. This is going to be your lineup marks for welding it on the square tube. Use a 3/4 inch hole saw or rotor broach and drill a hole in the center of your 4-inch piece 1 1/8 inch from the end. Now mark a line from the edge of the hole to the front edge of your piece. You're going to cut this out with your bandsaw. This is where the TIG torch is going to be held. I'm using a bandsaw for this, but you could easily cut this with a reciprocating saw, or a jigsaw, or even a hacksaw for that matter. Now I just take a deburring tool or a sanding disc and just deburr these sharper edges. You don't want these to cut into the rubber on the TIG torch. Now I'm going to take my 1/4 inch by 1 1/2 inch wide flat stock and cut 2 1-inch pieces off of that. Remember to deburr all your sharp or rough edges. Now we're going to mark the center of our 1 1/2 inch side, which is basically going to be 3/4 of an inch from each side. And make a mark 3/8 of an inch from the end. This is going to be where we're going to drill a hole. We're going to tap that hole with a 5/16 by 18 tap. The correct drill bit for a 5/16 tap is the letter F, which is 0.257. You could use a G, which is I think about 0.260, but I try to stay away from the 17/64 drill bit because that's getting up to about 0.265, which I think your thread depth is going to be a little bit sloppy at that point. Here's a neat little trick for you if you're having problems tapping your hole straight. I take and put my tap right into my drill press right after I drill the hole. That way I know the tap is going to be perfectly lined up with the hole. But I don't turn on the drill press. It's way too fast to tap that hole. In fact, I unplug it just to make sure that it doesn't accidentally turn on. What I'll do then is I'll use a 5/16 bolt that I cut the threads off of, and it fits perfectly in the chuck hole. And I'll just turn that manually and tap the hole. Just put a little bit of downward pressure on it. Actually, once it starts tapping, it'll pull itself down. Just turn it back by hand. Once it comes out, clean it off a little bit. You've got a perfectly straight tapped hole. I'm going to chamfer the edges of these two legs where the TIG torch slides on, just to make sure it's smooth going in and out. I'm gonna bend a little lip on the edge of these two legs here too, just like I did for the helmet. Okay, I've already made my marks where I'm going to weld my hanger brackets to on my square tubing. I made those dimensions based on two things really. One, how far do I want to reach around the table to grab my welding helmet off the hanger? And two, making sure that there's no obstructions underneath the table. We're going to weld on those pieces of 1/4 inch that you drilled and tapped earlier. And we're going to be welding that on the side of the tube, and that's going to be part of the clamping mechanism that holds it to the table. Okay, so we want to make sure that there's nothing that will obstruct these pieces. Also, make sure that you use your stainless brush and wire brush the oxide layer where you're going to be doing your welding. And then just take some acetone and wipe those areas clean. Okay, we're going to be welding on those 1/4 inch pieces first. And they're going to get welded to that square tube right underneath the hanger bracket. So I'm going to make my measurement a 1/2 inch, and I'm going to make a scribe mark at a 1/2 inch because my other table that I have is got a much thicker tabletop. So I want to make sure that I can use this bracket for both my folding arc station and my other welding table. Okay, I'm going to start by tacking the 1/4 inch pieces on the tube first. I'll be using the Multimatic 220 AC/DC, and I'm using it in the auto set mode set for 1/4 inch. And remember, read and follow all labels and your owner's manual. I'm just going to tack the outside corners first. Then I'm going to come back and weld the longer sides. Now I'm going to be welding the long side of the 1/4 inch piece. Because the tube is 1/8 inch and the piece I'm welding to is 1/4 inch, I'm going to be starting the arc on the 1/4 inch and getting the puddle established on it first, and then walking it down to the 1/8 inch piece. Now I'm only welding this piece on one side. I don't want to weld it on the other side because when I move this over to the other table, which is thicker, I don't want the weld to interfere with this piece fitting up tight against the table. Now the hanger bracket is made of 1/8 inch material, and so is the square tubing. So I turned my auto set down on my Multimatic to the 1/8 inch setting, but I did turn up the amperage slightly in that fine-tune range. Go. Now all I'm going to do is screw my 5/16 bolts into here and we'll mount it to the table. Much better.